Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be reading My Dad's a Birdman, Chapter 5. Let's get started. Dad ran around the room. He flapped his arms, he tweeted and cooed and squeaked and squawked. Lizzie reached out to him as he dashed past. She called to him, but he didn't hear. See her? Didn't hear her. She watched him from the corner of the room. "I'm in the air," he yelled. "Me feet are off the ground. They are." He giggled at himself. "No, they're not, you nitty nutter," he said. "But they will be. A bit more practice, a few more days, a few more hours, and a few more things. Whee!" He stuttered to a halt. He bent forward and panted and puffed. He inspected his wings. He fiddled with the feathers and the strings and the clips and the pins. Yes, they were far from perfect. Yes, they needed some adjustments. A little twist here, a little tweak there, but to his eyes, they were magic. They were better than propellers or parachutes, better than catapults or pogo sticks. Wings were the things that carry him up like a bird into the air, the things that brings victory to him, to Jackie Crow of 12 Lark Lane. He hugged himself as he daydreamed of the competition day. He saw the others splashing in the river, yelling for help, while he flapped high above. And he saw Lizzie down there on the riverbank, looking up at him, waving and yelling out to anyone who'd listen, "That's my dad up there. That's Jackie Crow. My dad's a birdman. He's the greatest birdman and the greatest dad there's ever been." He laughed and picked up a beetle from the floor. Lizzie gagged as he flicked it into his mouth. "Yum, yum," he said. He shoved the breakfast things off the table, then quickly climbed up onto it. "Dad, no!" shouted Lizzie. "1," he said. "2." "Dad, no!" yelled Lizzie, and she leaped to save him, but too late. "3," he yelled. "Blast off!" And he jumped towards the ceiling and crashed down to the floor. "Ow!" he cried. "Ouch! Me back! Ah! Me knee! Ow! Me head!" "Dad, man," said Lizzie, "you'll kill yourself." He giggled through his pain. I nearly did it, Lizzie. I was nearly away that time. Did you see us? Me feet were." He stopped. He goggled at her. What you doing here, lass?" She put her arm under his wings and helped him to sit up. "I'm here because I was worried about you," she said, "and I was right. You could break your back." "Man, break me back?" "Don't be a daft." He waggled his shoulders. "Do you like me wings, Lizzie? I've been keeping them a secret. They were going to be a big surprise for you." She touched them, sniffed them. "Aye," she said. "I suppose they're lovely, Dad, but there's no supposing about it. These wings is going to make us famous and rich." "But Dad, anyway, you're supposed to be at school. What about your sums and your spellings. What's Mr. Mint going to say about you? Lizzie didn't know what Mr. Mint would say, but she knew he'd be concerned. She knew he'd want to find out what was going on. Mr. Mint's a nice man, she said. He understands that sometimes I need to stay home. She went on inspecting the wings. She looked at the way the strings and the feathers and the wires were so carefully woven together. She touched a single feather with her fingertip. It was so smooth, so beautiful formed. She touched another deep feather. And shining black. Is this a blackbird? She said. Aye, Lizzie, it is. He took off the wings. They rustled as he lifted them, like trees, like living things. He pointed to other feathers. He showed her a pigeon's feather, and one from a thrush, and one from a magpie. He showed her how big a crow feather is, and how strong seagull feathers are. And he showed her the tiny, delicate feather of a linnet and the sweetly colored feather of a chiffchaff, and the beautiful feather from sweet little Jenny Wren. And Lizzie smiled as he showed her, and she sighed with him at the beauty of feathers. And the wings. Her dad had always been clever with his hands. He'd always been able to make things, like the doll's house he'd made for her 5th birthday, the puppet and the puppet theater he made that Christmas when she was 6, and the swing in the garden, and the little playhouse that was like a cottage from a fairy tale, and homemade books and dolls. But these wings were something new, something strange, something wonderful. They're lovely, Dad, she whispered. They're from the garden, said Dad. It's amazing what you find lying under the trees. Drop feathers everywhere. You're so clever, said Lizzie. But she shook her head. But you're silly as well, Dad. A man can't fly just by putting feathers on. Yes, he can, Dad replied. It's a matter of getting the jumping and flapping right. Believe in it, and off you go. Then he sighed. There's just one problem, though. What's that? Said Lizzie. In answer, he got hold of his tummy. He wobbled it. She smiled. He'd always been a bit plump, ever since she could remember. This is the problem, he said. Look at this belly. Lizzie, I'm too blooming fat. That's what's holding me back. Did you ever see a fat bird? Did you ever see a wobbly bird? Lizzie thought about it. There were those big fat Christmas turkeys that could hardly walk, never mind fly. But they weren't supposed to fly. They were supposed to waddle around eating rich food for a few months, then end up stuffed on a Christmas table. And there were those poor dumpy chickens in those tiny cages. And Dad saw what she was thinking. Did you ever see a wobbly bird that could fly? She shook her head. Course you didn't, said Dad. And why is that? It's because of what they eat. He picked up a tiny beetle from the floor and flicked it into his mouth. Lizzie yelped. They eat bugs, flies, berries, and seeds and worms, said Dad. They do not eat rich food. They do not eat toast. And they definitely, positively do not eat your Auntie Doreen's dinner. He ate another bug. He went tweet, 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 tweet. A bird whistled from outside. See? He said, it's working. He went caw-caw, caw-caw, just like a crow. And a crow called back from outside. See? He said, I'll be a real proper birdman. It's all for you, lass. You'll be so proud of us. But Dad, she said softly, and she held him gently by the arm. I don't need you to become a birdman. I just need you to be my dad. Dad paused. He looked into Lizzie's eyes. Really? He said, as if the thought had never crossed his mind. And Lizzie started to speak again, but a voice from outside interrupted her. Jackie, Dad flinched. Oh no, he said. She's here already. He jumped up. He cawed like a crow. He ran out into the garden. There was no stopping him. Hello, little worms, he cried. So that's what we have for today. I hope you had a nice day and wish you best of luck. Bye!